Okay, so if you're here, you're probably in the market for a monopod. And today we're gonna be showing you this Manfrotto MII or MII little monopod. This is a great little monopod. To be fair, this was sent to me in exchange for this video, but as always, I give my honest opinions. And if something sucks, I'm gonna tell you it sucks because I won't use it and I don't want you to use it. Waste your money. I hate wasting money. It's the worst thing you can do, especially when buying gear. So let's get to talking about this monopod. How do you use a monopod? Or how do you see yourself using a monopod once you get one? Let me know, put that down in the comments. So what are some reasons you might want to buy a monopod? Let's say you're shooting a lot in low light and you're really struggling hand holding your camera. Monopod's great for that. You're walking around all day carrying your camera up, down, taking photos. Starting to get a little heavy, monopod's great for that as well. Monopod does add a little weight, but when you don't want to sit there and hold your camera, plop it on the ground, you can just kind of rest it. Yeah, you're not holding the weight, so that's good too. Now, one use I've seen a lot lately for monopods is at events, sporting events, conferences, things like that. If you want a high angle shot, just extend your monopod out and hold that above your head. You can trigger your camera with some sort of remote trigger, or if you have a time-lapse feature built into your camera, you can just set that to snap, so you can just put it up, move it around, get a whole bunch of shots. Hopefully you get something kind of a spray and pray kind of model, but that is a use for it. And one uncommon use for a monopod, say you're setting up a slider and you just have one tripod, you don't want to carry two tripods with you, you can take this monopod with you, set that up on the other end of the slider, and hopefully that just gives you a little bit more stability so you don't get that wiggle that happens from the weight of the camera when you get to one end or the other. Another reason you might want a monopod is if you're shooting with a really long lens, even in the middle of the day, just to give you that extra stability. You're gonna have that lens mounted right on here. That just gives you a nice solid base to shoot on instead of just shaking around a little bit, which happens. We all have our days. So let's talk about this specific monopod. Things I like about this: one, it's nice and small. Two, it's got feet on the bottom that are collapsible. Good solid grips on this thing. One other thing I actually really like about this, I don't know if you can see it right here. Oh, I'm putting my finger over it right there. Right there, there's a little bubble level in here, which I think is a really, really nice touch to have in your monopod. One question you may have is, can you take this head off? I believe you can. All right, so if you want to buy the one with the fluid head, you can actually take the fluid head off and just go with your 3/8/16 mount on the top of this tripod, monopod, not tripod. And if you want to swap between the fluid head and your own head, that is a possibility as well. It's a pretty small little monopod. I can't really get it in frame if I stick it way back there, but it's, I don't know, about the length of my arm. Pretty light, 2.25 pounds, so almost a pound lighter than, say, carrying my Peak Design tripod with me, which admittedly is going to be handier to have a full tripod than just to carry a monopod. But if you know you're not going to need a tripod for long exposures or steady shots, monopod's a great way to go. As I mentioned, it's got this built-in feet on the bottom. You don't necessarily need to fold them out, but if you do, it just gives you a little bit extra stability. And they are stable enough to where if you have a lighter camera, you can actually trust this to stand up by itself. You're gonna have to have your camera balanced really well on top to do that. I've seen it done successfully with like an iPhone. I haven't tested it with my camera. I probably will never do that with my camera unless I find like a tree limb that I can just actually lean it into. That is something if you're just shooting with an iPhone or your phone or a point and shoot camera, you can actually use this as a tripod. It is sturdy enough on those feet for a tripod. Now, this particular model has the built-in fluid head. You can buy this without the fluid head for, I think, $90. This one is $170 with the fluid head, which is nice because it actually has the fluid base on it. Let's see, show you there. So it actually turns in this base, not right here in the ball mount. And then the fluid head, it's not the beefiest of fluid heads, but It does work. It's fairly smooth. It's not the smoothest one I've ever used, but it's better than not having a fluid head at all, because that just isn't very fun. Lightweight, compact. Yeah. Another nice thing about this is it takes that standard Manfrotto quick release plate that is very common in video use. The one thing I hate is having a bunch of quick release tripods, monopods, connections that are all different. So, I mean, it's kind of like what's the point? You have to switch it out all the time. So I do like this. It's got the same mount as pretty much everything I use here in the studio. Another feature, this may be a plus for you and maybe a minus for you, are the twist locks. The plus side of it is you have less stuff sticking out to catch on bag straps and as you're walking around. The downside is if you don't like twist locks, that's what they are. I'm not a huge fan of twist locks. I feel like they've gotten better since I started and would always mess up a Gitzo tripod. I messed every one of those up I ever touched, so I don't like twist locks, but this one seems to be doing okay for me so far. Haven't broken it yet, so we're good there. Now, what are the limitations of this tripod? As I mentioned, if you don't like twist locks, that's gonna be a limitation. The other big limitation is probably gonna be the height. It only comes up to, it's as high as it goes. I mean, when I stand up, when I'm standing, it's about shoulder height on me. It's not super short, but it's also not really tall. So that may be a limitation if you're taller or if you need extra height and extra stability, could be a limitation for you. And then if you're shooting with like just a big beefy camera, it might hold it. It's rated to 8 pounds, I believe, right around 8 to 10 pounds. It does feel pretty sturdy when I have it locked down and I'm pushing down, but you may find a bit of a limitation. That's not gonna be a big issue for most people. If you're just shooting with a standard DSLR mirrorless with your big lens, no problem at all. All right, well, like I said, it's a monopod. There's not a whole lot to it. There's not a whole lot of features. There's not a whole lot you can do with a monopod. It's a monopod. It's nice and light. It's small. It's compact. If that's what you're looking for, think about this Manfrotto. And it's a Manfrotto, so it's hard to go wrong with that brand. They make good stuff made in Italy. I don't know if that matters to you, but that's where they make them. So yeah, give it a look. I've dropped B&H links down below in the description. Those are affiliate links, so if you purchase something through that, it does help this channel. I really appreciate it. Helps me make videos, helps me help you out. All right guys, well, I'll tell you what, if you like this video, you found it helpful, useful, anything like that, give me a thumbs up. If you've made it this far and really hate this video, do me a favor, hit that thumbs down. Let me know you don't like this. Let me know it wasn't helpful. Put that down in the comments. Tell me what you want to know about this. If I didn't touch on it, let me know. All right guys, I really appreciate it. Now we'll see you guys next time. Lanyard, if you're interested in that kind of thing. I usually take these off, but it has a lanyard. Might be able to use it as a walking stick. Not really sure. Maybe. Maybe not. Or strap it to your bag. Strap your bag to your pod. I don't care. It's gonna be your pod. Once you buy it, do whatever you want with it. Whatever. Do what I want.